Hello, welcome to our Red Tara Practice and Contemplation group. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. You know, this practice of Red Tara is actually very rare and very precious. We were at a event with some very high lamas, and one of them, who you may have heard of, is Zonzar Chensir Rinpoche. He's quite well known. If you haven't heard of him, you should look him up. He's incredible. He said that the lamas, when they talk amongst themselves, they were pondering how Chagdud Rinpoche in such a short time accomplished so much activity, built so many temples, performed so many, was able to organize so many complicated transmissions and retreats and drupchins and things like that. And they said that it was a consensus amongst them that it was because of his Red Tara practice. So Red Tara practice is a very powerful, magnetizing, increasing practice that really does have a transformative effect in our personal lives and also in the lives of our Sangha, our group of fellow practitioners. So we're very fortunate that we have received the transmission of this practice, or that in the future we will receive it. And in the meantime, that we do the practice. So we were studying last week the mind and meditation. And this week there's a prayer of aspiration and contemplation on what is prayer, how does prayer work and function within the Buddhist practice. So prayer is a way of creating intimacy between ourselves and enlightened beings. It doesn't matter what religion we follow. Even if we don't adhere to any particular tradition, we can still supplicate. Whoever has enlightened qualities, please hear my prayer. I remember I had a friend, he used to pray to the stars, and it worked for him. He said, it's amazing, I pray to the stars and things happen for me. Due to the pervasive presence of hope and fear in the mind, we place hope on those we think can help us and fear those who we think might harm us. In the spiritual context, we hope that enlightened beings, someone outside of ourselves, will aid us by the power of that being's positive qualities. However, the purpose of prayer is not just to please enlightened beings so they will grant our requests, like adults giving candy to well-behaved children. Rather, we pray in order to become receptive to their blessings, which are unconditional. The loving kindness of wisdom beings is all-pervasive. Yet, as beginning practitioners, we are like an impenetrable iron ball with no ring to catch the hook of their compassion. Even though our true nature is no different from that of wisdom beings, theirs, like gold, is fully apparent. Ours, like gold ore, remains obscure. So we pray that our impenetrability will dissolve, that we be open to enlightened beings' limitless blessings, that our mental poisons will diminish, and our qualities and ability to help others will increase. Eventually, as our practice of prayer deepens, the apparent separation between ourselves and those we supplicate will dissolve, and our inherent wisdom will dawn. You know, I'm 58 years old, and I worked construction. I've been to Colorado. I lived in South Africa, places where there's a lot of gold mines. But I never really understood what is gold ore. Then now they have these mining shows on TV that talk about placer mining and hard rock mining, And I think finally now I understand the difference between gold and gold ore. So gold ore is found inside of mountains, hard rocks. Usually it's a vein that looks like it's mixed with quartz. In some cases, you might see a little bit of a gold tinge or even little flakes of gold. In other cases, you might not. But what they do is they just crush it. They crush it down, solid rocks. They crush it into a fine powder. And when it's in a fine powder form, those little flakes of gold can be separated either through panning or more efficiently through mercury, which I think is now illegal, or through cyanide, which is a very common technique. But anyway, that's what gold ore is. We pray not just for ourselves and those close to us, but for all beings, including our enemies. By your blessings, may I and all others overcome suffering and gain happiness now and ultimately. Such selflessness exponentially increases the power of our prayers. The more we pray, the more blessings we will receive. And the accumulation of prayers offered in the past will support us anytime we pray. I mentioned Zolzar Chensi Rinpoche earlier. I was listening to his comments on prayer and aspirations. And he said, we do meditation practices like shamatha or shunyata or vipassana, but we don't make prayers of aspiration to have success in those practices. He said it's just as important to pray, to make aspirations, to have success with those meditation practices as it is to do the practice itself. Although it is helpful to pray when obstacles arrive, we shouldn't do so with aversion to them or with attachment to what we want, because we cannot be certain that something is truly an obstacle. We are not omniscient. Once a Tibetan woman was traveling by airplane. The plane made a stop and she got off to look around. Unfamiliar with the language in the airport, she missed her connecting flight, which ended up crashing. A prayer like, don't let me miss my flight, as she ran to the gate, would have been sorely misguided. We might pray to be spared a serious illness, yet that sickness could purify our karma or prevent something worse from happening were we to go with life as usual. Because we don't know all the factors involved, we should always pray for whatever is truly best. That's so important, I'm going to repeat it. Because we don't know all the factors involved, we should always pray for whatever is truly best. Prayer is an aspect of effortful meditation that we alternate with relaxation. Though we start with the dualistic concept that we are separate from perfection, we open our heart through prayer and devotion until we experience a falling away of those fictitious boundaries. Once our heart has blended with the experience of perfection, we rest in that openness.